ICP fam, I am joined again today by my dear friend Kyle Langham from the Dfinity Foundation to give you a much needed update on everything ICP. We're also going to talk about AI and what are some things happening with AI in the ICP ecosystem. We're going to talk a little bit about Bitcoin and what Cardano is doing and how that differs from what ICP is doing. Maybe I'll get Kyle to answer, well, which way is better? So with me today is none other than Kyle Langham from Dfinity. Kyle, as always, last minute, can you jump on a video? You said absolutely, so thank you again. 100K Bitcoin, I want to start here, man. What is your thoughts as you're reflecting? It's been a wild ride. You know, we shared a post from Peter Schiff today on our live show. Keep dreaming, 100K is never going to happen. And I'm sure 10 years ago when Bitcoin was at $100, no one ever thought in their wildest imagination, outside of a few crazy people, that we'd ever get to 100K. What are your thoughts on reaching this milestone?
Well, Peter Schiff will still be, Bitcoin will hit 1 million, and Peter Schiff will still be saying this is a fool's errand. You guys are looking for the next sucker.
That's true.
So his willingness to die on this hill is impressive, and so I just give him kudos for sticking to his guns for 8 years now.
Kyle, I really think he's a closet Bitcoiner, man. I really do. I don't think he's a dumb guy. He talks more about, posts more about Bitcoin than he does gold. I think he owns some Bitcoin, man. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, there's the Schiff indicator where anytime he tweets about Bitcoin, Bitcoin goes up. So if he owns a big stack, if he's been stacking sats, like it's in his advantage to just sit there and keep tweeting negative about Bitcoin. The day Peter Schiff goes bullish on Bitcoin is the day I sell my sats and I say, this is over, we're done. So let's say it that way.
That's a good. He's like the Jim Cramer. He's like the Peter Schiff of Jim Cramer, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, big milestone for BTC, but Kyle, what is $100,000 Bitcoin, the narrative shift, the media coverage? How does that trickle down into the altcoin markets? And if you want to also specifically maybe speak on how that affects ICP, not necessarily from a price standpoint, but from an adoption standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, you're a data analytics guy from that standpoint. How does that trickle down?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, 100K it's a nice round number. Humans like nice round numbers, and so hitting it is certainly a milestone and something to celebrate. The thing I love about Bitcoin is it's like TikTok next block. So 100K, okay, now we just keep mining the next block and moving on. So anyways, I love that the community is celebrating, and then tomorrow we'll probably just get right back to work in terms of broadening adoption and everything. And I think that that's kind of like the key here is not only you're seeing Bitcoin play out in two different forms so far in 2024, and like 2025 is absolutely going to be the story about Bitcoin adoption in DeFi applications, in Web3 applications across the board. There's just too much infrastructure that was laid in 2024 for this to not be the major narrative playing forward. So I think if you want to talk about altcoins in general, the altcoins who've had a Bitcoin thesis for a while now, the ones who have been positioning themselves in building out this infrastructure are going to really benefit. And so that's how I see this. And we can kind of go into detail of like some of that infrastructure and some of the things that I've been seeing in terms of like what does building on Bitcoin actually mean? What does it look like?
Yeah, that's true. You bring up a really good point, Kyle. We're so used to, humans in general, and also in our space, is instant gratification. And I think it's so important you mentioned there was so much building happening in 2024 that you spend a year building and the price is chopping sideways and certain altcoins are just not moving. And then I think I agree with you 100%. I think in 2025, we're really going to see who put in the work. And does our work translate to value in the market? Do people, investors, builders, do they find value in what you've been building over the last year in the market? And I'm excited to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and it's playing out in a lot of different forms, right? And that's the thing with innovation is you want as many shots on goal as possible, and then let the free market decide who the winners are, who the losers are, and move forward. It's the creative destruction process. You're seeing a lot of like the DeFi stuff that Ethereum pioneered and then Solana continued. That's going to come heavy. I think you're going to see in the next week or two on ICP specifically an application that's going to launch that's going to make you realize like, oh, what meme coin is for Solana is going to be what meme coin is for Runes, and that will be the future of the world. So keep your eyes open there. But just across the board, like everything you saw happen on Ethereum with DeFi, with NFTs, Bitcoin now has their ordinal meta protocol. Like all of that is already starting to happen on Bitcoin, but the stakes are so much larger, right? When you think about the fact that Bitcoin dominance is still at like 65%, it's been a while since I've looked, but Bitcoin is going to remain the king of our industry. And so it's finally like the developer base of our industry is finally finding ways to move back. You have great solutions. So obviously I'm bullish on ICP solution. You have other phenomenal solutions like Stacks completing their Nakamoto upgrade a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago. You had the great Cardano and Bitcoin OS news, which was phenomenal. So you see all these different shots on goal, and that's what's going to play out in 2025. It's just all this new innovation coming back to Bitcoin, and I can't wait to see it.
I'm happy you mentioned the Cardano Bitcoin thing. Can you maybe expand on that, Kyle? Because obviously, a lot of people watching this video, they're going to be big ICP fans, and they know what you guys are doing with ChainKey and how it's, actually interacting with Bitcoin on the mainnet layer, not some BS wrapped asset that has a central authority behind it. What are your thoughts on what Cardano is looking to do with the whole Bitcoin OS? And even Charles came out and said, they were unhappy with them saying we're going to launch our own token, the Bitcoin OS team, to the point where he's saying, we're going to do our own thing, but I think they're also going to work with OS. And then maybe transition into how does that differ from what ICP is doing? And then maybe answer the question, like, which one's going to be better?
So great. I mean, I know the Bitcoin OS team. I know the team at Cardano at the different foundations. So I know these are both quality teams that know how to execute. And so that's for sure. I think the execution is not going to be the problem in this case. Now, there may be some disagreements, like you said, about the token and everything like that. In the end, the market will drive what the market drives. And I think that'll all work itself out. But the big difference, so, you mentioned ICP has the direct integration. We can sign Bitcoin transactions. We can do Taproot assets as well, like BRC20s, runes, ordinals, all that. But the big difference for Bitcoin OS is there a ZK rollup. And perhaps the easiest way to so Bitcoin OS was the first people to get a ZK rollup into Bitcoin mainnet. They did it back in July of this year. Huge announcement, a phenomenal accomplishment. That was kind of like a one-off that they accomplished, and now they're kind of gearing up for production level. The thing with ZK rollup is it probably is if you can scale it, it is a great solution and would 100% be worthy of like all the attention. The problem is the scaling, so that's going to be Bitcoin OS's first technical issue. And then there's the adoption issue, and that's where Cardano, I think, fits into that storyline, and why you see that partnership start to take shape is Cardano's got the adoption. You bring the developer base, it's a pre-built developer base. You got a pre-built user base, and so it's just again another great relationship. I hope they can kind of work through the token issue and get to a place where you start to see all these new Bitcoin applications that start launching and scaling solutions. From ICP's perspective, again, chain fusion means that we integrate with any chain. So, we can bring our value to Bitcoin OS. Again, we know the team there very well. We can bring our value to Cardano. So, the industry winning is ICP winning, and how we view it. And this isn't our solution's better, your solution's worse thing. It's just let's all build this infrastructure, and let's make sure we get mass adoption. That's the one piece we're missing in the industry is we haven't broken out of our bubble. And we don't break out of the bubble by having like tribalistic, trying gated communities. Instead, we got to really focus on mass, on applications that reach masses.
I love that. And, to Charles Hoskinson's credit, he's, done videos and AMAs, and he's kind of apologized to certain communities that he's gone after, whether you agree with him for doing it, whether you believe it was justified or not. But I can sense a shift in narrative and direction from some of the top minds and top voices in our space, from you, from Dom to Charles and Anatoly and Andre Cronje from Sonic/Phantom. And so I agree with you. I think this is what we need. We start going down this tribalism hole of, well, ours is better and you can't do this and yours sucks and this. And there might be some things that ICP does excellent. Or maybe some things Cardano does excellent, or some things that Near Protocol does excellent. And so there's always things you can take away from what certain projects are doing, better than what you're doing, it's only going to make the space better. And as you mentioned, take shots on goal, and the market decide. The referees will decide which shot was good, which shot was not good. I don't know if that's as good as your analogy was, but either way, people watching, they kind of get the point.
I mean, these are applications, these are platforms. It's not like there's Slack maxis out there. It's not like there's Microsoft maxis out there. People just want to use applications.
There are Apple maxis, though. I will say, Apple. Yeah.
So Apple maybe is the Ethereum, and then everyone else is the fighting for the Android market, I guess. And we should all just make sure we're focused on creating an environment in which innovation can thrive, innovation that can compete against Web 2 and solve real world problems. And that's really the key to the industry.
Amen to that. And as the space becomes more interoperable, something that another chain does will benefit other chains, whether it's ICP or any other protocol in the long run. Kyle, I want to shift this conversation to artificial intelligence. Is massive, is going to continue to be massive. And I want to talk to the people watching. I want them to understand from an investment standpoint, you're looking at, I want my portfolio to grow. And Kyle, I don't expect you to comment. I know you don't talk about price. That's not important to you. And I 100% agree. But people watching, they want to see their portfolios go up. When you think of a sector like artificial intelligence, it is such a burgeoning, new, exciting sector that you have so many multi-trillion-dollar companies that are working towards enhancing artificial intelligence that you continue to get, you might wake up tomorrow or the next day and hear Apple Intelligence can now do this. You're like, oh my God, holy moly. And the next thing you know, you see AI narrative, and in turn, AI cryptocurrencies start to pump. So AI is why am I saying this? It's a big narrative now, but it's going to continue to get larger as we grow. And I know that ICP stands at the forefront in blockchain and Web3 of AI. There's a lot of buzz about what Caffeine AI is doing. What are some things you can tell us about what's going on with AI and ICP, some improvements or maybe headway you guys have made? And if you can also specifically speak on Caffeine AI and what they're looking to do, and maybe share some alpha with us.
Yeah. I think the biggest, probably where I'll start is Ethereum was at first envisioned to be this world computer, right? This decentralized web hosting service that anyone could launch their application. And then it kind of pivoted into what it is now, which is more focused on smaller, very little data, smaller software packets, and ICP basically picked up the world computer drum out of that, right? Dom kind of was part of that early Ethereum community, and when he saw that the community was moving one way, he said, "Okay, I'm going to stick with the world computer." And I say all that just to say it is interesting. The world computer idea is coming back. I don't know if you've seen a lot of the heavy lifters in the Ethereum community have started now saying, "Hey, we need to get back into this world computer vision." Yep. It's possible. I will say on the Web 2 side, a lot of I've talked with a lot of the grandfathers of the internet, people who created all the work that created the public internet, and there's a concern over this isn't what we wanted, and there's a lot more movement. I was recently in DC talking about this. All that to say, while I was in DC talking about internet safety and how we can change the public internet, Dom was there as well, and he had the opportunity to just demo Caffeine for some major players in the AI space who were interested in AI safety. I can't say I don't have any information to give you in terms of release date or more details on what it does under the hood. But what I can say is people's jaws were dropping. These were leaders in this AI space, and they were like, "Okay, this is really impressive technology." They really were fascinated with the idea of hosting. Again, if you have a world computer, a world computer should be able to host AI directly on chain, so you don't have to host it on Amazon, you don't have to host it on Google. That idea and the implications of having tamper-proof and decentralized permissionless AI is, for people who are interested in AI safety, it's a no-brainer for them. That's kind of solve something that they've been thinking through for years and years and years. And so I say all that just to say, the AI movement on blockchain, on the ICP, is picking up steam, and it's really exciting to see.
I'm pretty sure this is what you're referring to, kind of, right? At least part of it is Vitalik coming out and saying world computer is what computing needs, right? And so you're starting to see the shift in narrative for a world computer, which ICP's kind of been on for a while.
Yeah, and they just published a white paper. If you go through and read, and it's like it. I mean, it comes straight out of the early days of Ethereum, that World Computer Idea, and it is kind of like a. I mean, we took it as like a victory lap in the sense of like this is. We've always been the odd duck in crypto because we kept with that World Computer Vision, and it's nice to see that that was the right choice, 7 years ago, and that the industry started to come back around to
That's a
where we've
trend
been.
for that's a trend for you guys, isn't it? You're so early, no one talks about it, and then when it happens, everyone's like, "Yay!" And then ICP's over here like, "Yeah, we've kind of been doing that for a while now."
Yeah. I mean, it is a trend. I don't know that it's a great trend because it probably is a sign that we're not getting out and talking enough about. But yeah, it's like Coinbase going to passkeys on the base network. You have Sui, who's now switching to a reverse gas model.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Near Protocol. Their chain abstraction is their chain abstraction white paper like literally references work done by Dfinity, which is great to see. Building on top of. So all of these cases where Dfinity's been a few years ahead, probably a few years early. When you're early, you look around and you go, are we the only ones because we're just early, or are we the only ones because everyone else is smarter than us, or knows something that we don't know? And so as people start to come to our party, it's kind of a validation that like, okay, yes, we have been on the right track the whole time. And so again, going back to the idea of like, good, come aboard. Let's build together. Let's figure out how we get crypto into my mom's phone.
Yeah. Kyle, to kind of wrap this thing up, for 2025, what is going to be one of your key areas of focus personally to help grow, in your space in your role with Dfinity, to help grow the ecosystem? I don't know. Is it to onboard new users? Is it to like what are some things you're focused on personally?
Yeah, I would say probably there's two focuses for me. One is Bitcoin, and that's just I love Bitcoin, and I do think that it's the future. Building on Bitcoin is the future, and there's just too much good stuff going on ICP related to Bitcoin for me to not be interested in that, as well as a majority of my colleagues. The other area, and this is really more just there's probably two things to this. It's one, I'm located not far from Washington D.C. Two, the temperature of blockchain and crypto, and particularly in Washington, D.C., has completely changed. So I do plan on spending a lot of time meeting with federal agencies of how blockchain technology can solve specific problems around efficiency for them, solve specific supply chain issues that they're having. There are, I know you got your shows based in the United States, and this might surprise you, but there is some innovators in the federal government who are really actually focused on how blockchain technology can solve like data privacy, especially in like medical records. Certain military branches are extremely interested in like secure communications, things like that. So I'll be using my proximity to DC to kind of have these conversations and talk about like this is what we can do on blockchain that you might not be aware that this technology even exists yet.
Awesome. Kyle, as always, man, thank you so much. And I also want to thank you, when we launched the pre-orders for our Crypto Almanac, the magazine, you were kind enough to repost it. And so we just wanted to thank you. And we also want to tell the people watching, if you haven't gotten a Crypto Almanac, buy it. It's amazing. A lot of time went into it. It's got an entire write-up of your favorite project, ICP, in there, highlighting some of the exciting things that have happened and some of the exciting things that are going to happen. We also gave it a ranking and a grade. So Kyle, I'm curious, when you get your copy, because I know you ordered one, when you get your copy, curious to see, to get your feedback on how we did, how we ranked and grade and what your thoughts are there. So we'll have to circle back on that one.
I can't wait to get my copy. I saw your video that you posted on socials. It's top level. It's top level. So you guys did a great job, and I can't wait to get my copy delivered.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much. And to all of you watching, subscribe to the channel. We have an entire ICP playlist for you to go through of all the ICP content we've created. And come check out our live show Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you all next time. Thank you again to Kyle. Have a great weekend, guys. Peace.